You eat clean, you train regularly, you should be seeing results by now, right? Well, your body still looks soft. You've got that stubborn belly fat. Your clothes feel the same. And when you see yourself in the mirror, it's like, am I even doing this correctly? If that sounds like you, don't worry. You are not broken, you are not alone. But something is off with your strategy, quite frankly. And I've worked with hundreds of busy professional men, mostly over the age of 25, and I see this over and over again. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly why your effort isn't turning into results, but more importantly, what to do instead. Let's start with the obvious one, clean eating. Now, what does that even mean? Chicken, rice and broccoli, autumn berries, vegetables, fruits, bit of avocado on toast here and there. Sounds healthy, yes, but here's the issue. You can eat clean and still be in a calorie surplus, especially if your meals are high in fats, oils and sauces. Stuff you think is fine, but it really does add up fast. I remember back in the day, 10-15 years ago when I first started the gym, looking at the bodybuilding.com forums, looking at the social media posts online, YouTube videos, everyone was talking about you had to eat clean. And if you weren't eating clean, you aren't going to get results. You're not going to see your abs. This is also where a lot of the fad diets come into play as well. For example, Slimming World or Weight Watchers, they'll say as long as you just eat clean foods, you will drop body fat. You will lose weight. But the thing is, they don't have a calorie restriction in terms of when you eat clean foods. They say you can just eat as much as you want, and that's absolutely fine. But as we know, that's just going to lead to an energy surplus, a calorie surplus, where you will put on more body fat. And most guys I know, when they first come to me as a client, they're not weighing the food, they're not tracking or even estimating for that matter, they're just completely eyeballing it. And they're thinking, well, it's not pizza, it's on a pint down the pub, so it's absolutely fine. But let me hit you with something. Clean eating is great for your health, but if you want fat loss, the law of thermodynamics still applies. Calories still matter. So yes, you might be eating healthy, but if you're eating too much healthy food, you'll still carry extra fat. And I've noticed there's a lot of stuff online at the minute about seed oils and processed foods, but we've got to ask ourselves, are they correlation or are they causation? Because a lot of claims say they are causation, which means they are the root cause of looking unhealthy, putting on too much body fat, and not being able to see results. But I would argue that they're more correlation. For example, if you have a lot of seed oils, or oils in general for that matter, there's a high likelihood that you are consuming a lot of calories because they're high in fat. And if you've got a high intake of fat, you've got high calories, which therefore means there's a higher likelihood that your daily and weekly energy intake is high, which then leads to putting on more body fat. And the same applies to processed foods. Processed foods a lot of the time refer to sugars like sweets, candy as they call it in America, or burgers, fatty food. But again, the correlation with this is they are high calories and they are not satiating, meaning you want to eat more of them. If you eat more of them, you're intaking more calories, therefore you are more likely to put on weight. Getting the caveats out of the way, I'm not saying they're the best thing to eat, the most healthy, but we've just got to strip it back and ask ourselves, is it correlation or is it actually causation? I would say they're more correlation for the majority of people. But the point I'm trying to say is you can still overconsume unhealthy foods and clean foods. Now let's move on to training. Here's the usual setup I see when people first come to me as a client. They're doing 4 to 5 sessions per week, if not more. Bit of upper, bit of lower, maybe a chest day on a Monday, maybe some HIIT, maybe some type of sport or five-a-side football after work with the lads. And they're giving it loads of effort, no doubt. But the recovery, it's less than ideal. They're not sleeping enough. They're glued to the screen till midnight, whether it's emails, on the phone, on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. They're working 50 plus hours. They've got kids, they're drinking 2 to 4 coffees before lunch, and then they're smashing a fat burn circuit with no real structure. The body's not adapting, it's just surviving, especially when you factor in a lack of sleep and all of these variables. This is where most busy professionals go wrong. They think more is better, but when your life is already full on, more training is just adding another stressor. Your body can't recover from it. You don't necessarily need more workouts, you need the right workouts that fit your life and fit the variables I've just discussed. I argue for the majority of clients, 3 full body strength sessions per week, properly structured, will beat 5 to 6 random high intensity sessions every single time. And why is that? Well, because they give your body a chance to recover, adapt, and actually change. For example, with my own training at the minute, I do 3 full body sessions per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. and they're all around 45 minutes to an hour long. I also do 3 sessions of jiu-jitsu per week as well. So if I was doing 5 to 6 gym sessions as well as the BJJ, there's no way I'd be able to recover from that. I find it hard enough to recover from 3 BJJ and 3 gym sessions per week. So at the minute, that works for me, and I feel like I am still making some good progress in the gym, even adding in the jiu-jitsu over the last 4 months or so. So we've just got to look at our goals, our recovery, our lifestyle variables, and then try and work a plan which works for you. And that's what I've done for myself. Now let me ask you this, how many nights per week are you actually getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep? How often do you go to bed without scrolling on your phone, without looking at your emails, without looking at Instagram Reels or TikToks for an hour? How many steps are you getting each day? Because here's the thing, most lads overlook. Your results don't just come from the gym, as we all know from that cliche. They come from what you're doing outside of the gym. I get it, you might be stressed, you're sleeping poorly, you're sedentary most of the day, especially if you've got a desk job, an IT job for example. You're drinking more coffee than water just to get through the day. And you're not walking enough either. So your body stays inflamed and your cortisol's up, appetite's all over the place, you're going downstairs, raiding the fridges, the cupboards, just to look for something to give you a bit of energy. Your sleep isn't ideal, your energy's inconsistent, and your progress, it's plateaued a little bit. But it's not about training harder, it's about giving your body what it needs to actually change. So personally for me, I follow a really strict sleep routine. So for example, 3 hours before bed, I try and have my last meal. I try and intake no more calories after this 3-hour window to make sure my body's fully digesting the food and I can go to bed without a full stomach. 2 hours before bed, I try and go up to the bedroom, brush my teeth, and then start my wind down routine and no more liquids. 1 hour before bed, put my phone on charge on the side and I don't touch it. And then I start reading a book on my Kindle. I always try and read a fictional book as well to try and take my mind out of the day-to-day work and just try and wind down a little bit, as well as making all the big lights are off in the room. This has made a massive change for me over the last year and has really helped me get to sleep quicker, but also have a better quality of sleep, as opposed to just going to bed at 10 o'clock and then hoping I fall asleep straight away. And let me give you another real-world example from one of my clients, Ryan. He's a web design agency owner, early 30s, working long hours, trying to train 5 to 6 days per week and eating clean. When we looked at his routine, here's what we found. There was no structure in his training, just random workouts from Instagram he'd found, and then he'd dot about from different routines or different programs. He'd try and eat as clean as possible, but when we actually added up his calories, he was consuming over 3,000 per day. Some days even up to 3,500. He was only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep most nights too, and he was stressed through the roof. So what we did is we stripped it all back. 3 full body sessions per week with intention. We applied the progressive overload principles to ensure he was making progress and getting stronger in the gym without adding more stress onto the body or the joints. We had a daily protein target, not too much, but not too little. Third point was I made him aware of his calories. We weren't tracking 24/7, but just enough to be aware of his overall consumption. Fourth point was daily walks, 8 to 12k steps per day. And then the 5th point was my sleep system I just explained, the 3-2-1 rule. Last meal 3 hours before bed, no liquids 2 hours before bed, and no screens 1 hour before. And in just 12 weeks, he dropped 6 kg, looked lean, slept better, and actually had more energy for work and his workout and his family as well. We didn't add more, we removed more and removed the noise. For the majority of people and the majority of my clients, I actually see where I can take things away from their routine as opposed to just adding a load of sessions. Because as I said, if you're someone who is busy with work, busy with social life, kids, family, whatever it may be, we want to make sure we're recovering. And this worked massively for Ryan. If you're someone who's struggling to just get in the gym and train at all, of course this will be slightly different because we need to add some training sessions into your routine. But it's all about looking at your routine and seeing where we can optimize. So what's the fix for you? Here's a simple 5-step plan I use with nearly every client. Track your intake for 7 days. Not forever, just enough to know where you're at, and you can see where your habits are with your intake. Next, hit 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, 3 to 4 meals per day. This will be a game changer. Your intake will be somewhere around the 140 to 160 gram range, which for the majority of people is more than enough. Train full body 3 times per week, focus on compound lifts, ditch the fluff. You don't need to do loads more. Around 40, 45, 50 minutes per session. That's what I do, and I found that has really helped me. Next is walk 8 to 12k steps per day. Park further away from work or from the shops. Walk on your business or work calls. Whatever it takes to just get those steps in. Next is sort your sleep out. My clients use that 3-2-1 system and it actually works wonders, and it's made such a big difference for me over the last year in optimizing my sleep and making sure I've got that recovery. None of this requires 2-hour gym sessions 5 days a week. None of this means giving up your job, your weekends, your sanity, going to the pub with the lads, whatever it may be. This is how busy men get lean, stay lean, and feel great long term. So if you're looking in the mirror thinking, I'm doing everything right, or what I think is right, why don't I look how I want to look? You're probably just missing some structure. Not discipline, not motivation. Just the right system for your life. That's exactly what I help guys build. If you want a free way to get started, click the link below and take the completely free Body Health and Performance Quiz. It takes just 60 seconds and it shows you where you're at and what's the biggest obstacle right now. Or you can watch the completely free mini course which I've put together. It's a 4-part training series which walks you through the exact system Ryan followed to get in great shape without disrupting his work life and drop up to 5 kg of body fat. The link's in the description. And if this video helped you, you can watch this video somewhere over here. YouTube thinks that's the best video for you to watch next. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you're struggling with in the comments. I'll read every single one and I'll get back to you. See you in the next one.